Today we are driving to Corning to visit the famous Museum of Glass. Until the next glass-making show is starting, we will spend some time in the contemporary art galleries on the second floor. Open in 2015, this is the museum's permanent collection, featuring over 70 works collected over 25 years. The next artwork is the one that creates always traffic jam on the floor. Everybody is looking very closely to the intricate details. Okay, the time has come. The glasswork show is about to start. It was a time when such shows have been so popular that even cruise ships had a furnace or two, mostly manned by Corning crew. I have a link in the description below for Alaska cruise on Celebrity Solstice. On the upper deck it was alone and a glass workshop. It was very crowded every late afternoon. One could say it was sold out. Actually, it was free, but the best blanket spots were taken at least 1 hour before the show.
And we leave this furnace running all the time. This one's been actually running nonstop since January 1st of 2015. So it's coming up on 8 years.
How long does it take for somebody to learn that skill?
12,000 hours. So Michael has got twice as much experience as that. Now he's hooked up a blow hose to the end of the iron. We call this our auto inflator. And this is allowing Michael to inflate the glass at the same time that he's shaping it. This was our answer to COVID. When we came back to work after the shutdown, we knew we weren't going to be able to blow into the irons because everybody was wearing face masks. So this is a solution we've come up with. Do you have a question, sir? What are we keeping it? I'm going to show you a little video. This shows you pretty much the gathering process, but it also gives you a great view inside the furnace. So if you look up on the screen, 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Well, Michael's going to use a wooden spoon called a block. He's going to shape this up before he begins the blowing process. If you wanted to add color, he would do that right now by rolling it through crushed up colored glass called frit. This is some coral red. This is crushed up to about the size of salt or sugar. So when you roll the molten glass through those little chips, they stick to the surface, and then you would melt them in. It's going to use all clear for us today. So he puts a puff of air into the rod, he traps that air in there with his thumb. And if you watch the end, I can see the bubble coming out right there. There it is. There's a bubble inside there, probably about the size of a golf ball. Ceramic bowl that's holding the molten glass. So it's a special type of ceramics, high temperature ceramics. So that's the gathering process right there. That's what it looks like. That put a texture on the surface of the glass. So now he's going to inflate and elongate the piece at the same time. We're going to remove the piece from the blowpipe. Use those metal tools called jacks to squeeze in that line. Once he's finished blowing up the bottom, we're going to attach a solid rod called a putty iron to the bottom of it. And that'll allow us to flip it around so we can open the top of the pitcher.
So I imagine that hose is a very low pressure hose, right?
The pressure that we have inside of the blowpipe for that hose is 2 pounds. It doesn't take much. If you can blow out a birthday candle or blow up a balloon, that's more than enough pressure to blow glass when it's this hot and soft. It's getting a really nice reheat on it. Sometimes he flattens it and doubles the thickness right around the bottom. We'll see what type of pitcher he's going to make. Very straight-sided. The camera's actually behind the oven. Yeah, so it's looking through a window of glass called fused silica. Michael's trimming the top of that right now, making a picture cut. But that piece of glass looks exactly like this. It's a piece of fused silica. So that's sitting in the back of the oven. The camera's behind it. I'm going to use a solid rod. We're going to add a handle. What's interesting about that mold that Michael used also is he just used it to put the texture on the surface. What do we do with the leftover in the broken glass? Well, any clean, clear glass is 100% recyclable, so we can throw it right back into the furnace and remelt it. Now, any colored glass that Michael uses and he breaks it on the floor, we send that to the recycling center, and they crush it up and they put it into those broken dreams. What type of handle would you like, Michael? And he used them to shape the sides of the piece very straight. And he also used it to flatten the bottom. And he also used it to put that constriction, the jack line, early on. So those are the big glass. So he really wasn't putting any texture or anything. Just using it to shape, put that constriction in there. So Michael wants a flat handle with a crease on one side of it. I'm going to roll this on the table. I'm going to use the tweezers When I stop and flatten it, I can push it down and put 2 marks right on the side. I'm going to give this a quick little heat. Bring it over to Michael, and he's going to add it. Are you going to put it in the middle, Michael, or from the top? Ribs facing me. All right. As soon as he cuts it, he immediately flips it over and turns it around so it doesn't fall back onto the picture. Then he reattaches it to the top of the piece. Into a slow cooling oven called the annealer. So we have to cool this down slowly. It'll take all the stress out of it. We just set this on the table, about a slight little tap. How about a nice round of applause for Michael Beatty? Nice job. So I'm going to stick it in here, and we'll be in there until tomorrow. All right. Well, we'd like to thank everybody for coming to the show. We hope you guys.
This section features 10 works, one for each of the contestants in the Blown Away Season 3 show. The Heineman Gallery is based on a 2005 donation of contemporary glass, all made in the last quarter of the 20th century. These are all unique objects representing new glassmaking techniques and materials. The objects are trying to convey the difference between art and design. The art is essentially non-functional, meant to express ideas, nurture thoughts and emotions. The design is focused on function, form, and sometimes on mass production. The commonality between art and design is the craft, the technique that allows the artist to create these objects. This is a very large museum, so there is a second episode coming soon.